A couple years ago, I had this incredible opportunity to actually spend a couple nights in Zion National Park, and we spent some time rappelling in the red rocks and the canyons there in Utah, and it was amazing. It was so much fun, and I'll never forget this moment when we're walking on this ledge on this mountainside, and we get to a spot, and our guide is getting ready for us to rappel again. It's time for us to rappel, except instead of rappelling down a mountain this time, this was a free fall where there's no rock. You just kind of fall and go down the rope and slowly inch yourself down this rope. And I'll be honest with you, it was over 100 feet. It was like 120 some feet free fall. And I'm sitting on the edge and my feet are hanging over, and I'm clipped into this rope and this harness, and the guide is standing there and he's looking at me and he's saying, you're good. And I'm looking down, and all I have to do now is just scooch off the edge and let the rope hold me. And I'll be honest with you, I'm a big dude, and I'm sitting there looking at that rope, and I'm looking at that guide, and I'm looking at that rope, and I'm looking at that guide, and I'm like, are you sure? Are you sure you got me? You're holding this rope, right? This rope's gonna hold me? And I'll never forget the moment when I finally just kind of went off and my weight dropped on that rope, and it was a memorable experience. In Matthew chapter 18, it's interesting as Jesus talks quite a bit about the children. And it says this in chapter 18, verse 2, it says, he called a little child and had him stand among them. And he said, I tell you the truth, unless you change and become like little children, you will never enter the kingdom of heaven. Therefore, whoever humbles himself like a child is the greatest in the kingdom of heaven. It's interesting how Jesus compares the kingdom of heaven and childlike faith. It's interesting when you look at a child, what do? They're fully dependent on their parents. They trust their parents. They follow their parents. They believe in their parents. They obey their parents most of the time. But with the child, it's about dependence, trust, faith in. And Jesus is telling us to have faith in him, to put our dependence in him. It's kind of like when I'm sitting on that ledge and I had to put my dependence in a rope and a guide. Jesus is telling us to put our full dependence on God, to put our full faith in God, to obey God, to follow him like a child does their parents. It's a great illustration for us today to know that as we walk through life, let's depend on not the resources and the things around us, but let's depend on God. Let's put our faith in Jesus, and let's follow God with childlike faith. God bless you, and have a great day.